I want to bring in somebody who has extensively detailed alleged corruption around the Clinton family. He's Peter Schweizer, executive producer of the documentary Clinton Cash, which is based on his best-selling book. Peter, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Maria.
So what is your reaction, first of all, to the FBI clearing Clinton again over her email scandal?
Well, I think the important thing to keep in mind is that there are 3 FBI investigations that were going on simultaneously. This email case, of course, the case involving the sexting with Uma Abedin and Anthony Weiner particularly, and then finally the Clinton Foundation. And the way it's been explained to me by people in the FBI sphere is that basically they're going to get one bite at this apple. So if you bring an email case prosecution or were to do that and were to fail, the Clinton Foundation investigation, just politically, it would be too much. Yes, I think Donald Trump is correct in that it's kind of hard to believe they've gone through 650,000 emails in such a short period of time. But keep in mind that the emails that they did collect can certainly be used in a Clinton Foundation FBI investigation, which my understanding continues to proceed.
So, in other words, we're still talking about an investigation that may follow Hillary Clinton should she become the president, and that is an investigation around the Clinton Foundation.
Yes, that's exactly right. And, of course, there are all sorts of hurdles to clear here. If the FBI finds that they have compelling evidence, they, of course, make a criminal referral. What the Department of Justice does with that, who knows? But you also have the problem of the Clinton Foundation, frankly, should be directly investigated seriously by the IRS for serious criminal violations to the IRS code. You know, the new revelation out, the claim from Doug Band that foundation resources were for Chelsea's wedding, for her commercial activities, also deserves investigation. The problem is people, I think, are losing confidence that the IRS and Department of Justice are going to actually impartially pursue those kinds of cases.
I think that's a great point, Peter. I mean, you've said when you're talking about the IRS and the FBI, the faith of the American people in these institutions, I think, is one of the saddest things that we're seeing this election. And Republicans often get blamed for the divisive nature, but no one's talking about the fact that the Obama administration has politicized the IRS through conservative organizations by researching, by investigating them. He's politicized the DOJ clearly through Loretta Lynch, and now the FBI. Is there anything that can be done to get the American people's faith back into these crucial institutions?
Well, I think that's a great point. Look, everybody's saying, oh, the reason that people don't have trust in institutions in Washington anymore is because, you know, those institutions are attacked by political partisans. I would say no. The reason they don't have confidence in those institutions is those institutions have been wanting when it comes to doing the heavy lifting we expect them to do. Look, I think when you are talking about investigating a powerful political figure like Hillary Clinton, or if she wins on Tuesday, investigating the President of the United States, the only effective option is to have a special prosecutor or independent counsel to look into it. You're going to have a Department of Justice and IRS that are simply going to be intimidated or are going to be subject to political pressure, and they're not going to pursue it. So then the question becomes, what is the check and balance? And the only check and balance is somebody who everybody esteems on both sides who can independently look into what are very, very serious criminal charges.
So why didn't they? Why didn't they have a grand jury brought in? Why didn't they have a special prosecutor? I mean, Peter, look, the IRS targeted conservatives. Boom, politicized. The Department of Justice has obstructed justice, basically, by trying to put a clamp on the FBI investigation. I mean, every agency has been politicized because of President Obama's influence. So what does anybody have to do? I mean, is everybody powerless?
No, I mean, that's a great point. Look, a lot of the blame, frankly, you have to lay at the feet of Congress. You know, you go back way back into the 1980s when you had the independent counsel and the Iran-Contra affair. It was really because of the insistence of Congress that we had an independent counsel look into that case. You know, the Obama administration is not going to do this by themselves. It's only if Congress says, look, we control the funding for the Department of Justice, for the IRS, we control control funding for large elements of the Obama administration, and, you know, we are going to proceed on those areas only if you go along with an independent counsel, and we will find somebody that everybody respects. But it's not going to happen spontaneously, and it's not going to happen if you simply have people on Capitol Hill that are sort of chattering about how frustrated they are with DOJ and with the IRS. You have to really, in effect, say this is how we're going to proceed and insist on it. That's why we have checks and balances.
Peter, it's Dagan McDowell. Have you talked to the FBI again recently in the last few weeks about the Clinton Foundation?
I have talked to, let's just say, former senior FBI officials who are aware of the situation, but I have not. The last direct contact I had with people involved in the Clinton Foundation investigation was at the end of February this year. And that really makes sense, frankly, because I had, several meetings with them, and those meetings were very much, if I had further information, further evidence, the book kind of speaks for itself. So they have gone on and obviously done a lot of other things and have other evidence besides what is in the book.
Trey Gowdy just yesterday on my show said, yeah, we're demanding a special prosecutor and a grand jury. I don't understand why Congress is not being successful in forcing this. Everybody knows Loretta Lynch put a clamp on this. Everybody knows. I mean, it's not any secret that Jim Comey has been pressured to do this.
You're exactly right. And look, I mean, keep in mind, when Bill Clinton goes and meets with Loretta Lynch on the tarmac, in Phoenix, it's not just a question of Hillary Clinton's emails being under investigation. He's doing that while his foundation is the subject of a criminal investigation. So, people don't have confidence in this. But look, there's a difference between Trey Gowdy and people on Capitol Hill saying, we demand this, and then taking action. For example, the Department of Justice's budget is determined by Congress. The Judiciary Committee, for example, sets that budget. If they say, and this has been done in the past, this was done in the 1980s when there was a push for an independent counsel in Iran-Contra, to say, look, we are going to use the purse to insist on an individual we can all agree to look into this independently. But just saying you demand it really has no effect in Washington, D.C. You have to take action that backs up what you're saying, that you're demanding an independent counsel.
Well, we'll talk about this when we've got members of Congress with us, for sure, and put that to them. Peter, good to see you. Thank you so much. We'll be watching the developments.
Maria.
Peter Schweizer joining us there. Tune in.